Something that you brought up in your TEDx, that in India it seems like the female side of the game has been much stronger than the male side of the game in India, at least in terms of success at the very top of the game. I think there's probably more male players in the top 100, but probably more female players in the top 20, right? So it's a really interesting dynamic there. Why do you think it is that the female players have come on so strong?
So one reason probably will be that at the global level, the competition in the male-female, so that probably cannot be compared, or it's something that is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the women in India are concerned, PV Sindhu, for that matter, extremely talented, extremely
Mm-hmm.
hardworking. Somebody who have seen training in front of me. So she extremely talented in terms of her physical abilities as well. The way
Mm-hmm.
she's improved herself, that has taken her to a world kind of a level. So there is a lot of difference in terms of the competition in the male female at the international level.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably one reason why. And so we've always in the women aspect had somebody to look up to. It was the first person to do well was Saina Nehwal, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu also took over, and a lot of young athletes now will be looking up to PV Sindhu and then coming up. So in the male, similarly, we've had Pulela Gopichand in the 2000s winning the All England championship, but after that we've somehow not had a lot of people in between those times. Whereas we've had Sindhu and Saina, somebody to look up to. So that's the reason probably why it took a lot of time. But right now, I believe in the men's also, we see a lot of athletes in the top 20, 30 doing really well. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of time that they will compete in the bigger tournaments like the World Championships, the All England tournaments, and it's about time when they start performing there.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And just from a kind of an international perspective, we hear a lot in Europe about how India prioritize male children over female children. So it's really interesting about that dynamic of those female athletes coming on so well. In terms of the grassroots, when kind of players are starting to develop and starting to go to trainings and things, what's that situation like? Are there programs in place to encourage the females to get into the sport, or is it just something that's organically happened?
Now the thing that you came up with, that existed relatively about 50 years back.
Okay.
Not right now. It may exist in some parts of India, but at a very grassroots or a very small level in
Mhm.
some rural parts of India. But as of now, what I'm seeing here is, since I've been going out to a lot of junior tournaments as well with my younger sister,
Mhm.
what I'm seeing is that the level of competition in the women singles or the women's doubles has gone very relatively higher, and now it is at par with the men.
Mhm.
So the number of entries earlier in the women's category would be somewhere around 100 to 200. In the men, they would be around 500. And right now, they are almost at par, where women competing are around 300, 400, and the men are 500, 600.
Mhm.
So it is almost at par. And the level of the game, the amount of training that parents encourage them with, the amount of training that they are put into, most of the young girls playing in India, all of them give up on their academics and continue to train
Right. Okay.
just with one vision, and that is to become a popular badminton player or to represent the country.
Mhm.
So they have just that one vision in mind, and I see a lot of women athletes coming up from the northern part of India.
Mm. Okay. Interesting.
So
Why do you think that's the case? That the northern parts of India are coming on so strong. There's growth there more than the south.
So there is a state called Haryana, which is there in the northern part of India.
Mhm.
A lot of athletes from that particular state
Mhm.
have been contributing globally to all the sports in the world.
Ah,
So,
okay.
for example, we've had Neeraj Chopra, who
Hmm.
was the javelin thrower who won the gold medal for India
Ah,
in
yes.
javelin throw.
Hmm.
He also hails from the same place. We've had Saina Nehwal, who is also from Haryana.
Hmm.
So, since a lot of athletes from that particular state started performing, a lot of players around living in around those areas got motivated, and that's how their parents enrolled them into the sport.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Ah, so that's good. So there is a place where sport is prioritized, and from that state, there are more people
Of
siding
course,
to badminton instead of some of the other sports that maybe used to be more popular.
that's one reason why we need more of regional heroes. The
Mm.
reason being that now Sindhu based in Hyderabad, it motivates 10,000 other people who are based in Hyderabad to take up the sport.
Yes.
Seeing how Sindhu is doing well. So that's the reason why we need more of such local heroes.